Less money for unemployed Floridians. The State Department of Economic Opportunity announcing that it will no longer participate in the federal pandemic unemployment compensation program. That effectively ends the $300 weekly payments given to unemployed Floridians. On your side's Jocelyn Howard has been guiding us through the state's unemployment maze and has more tonight.
Many unemployed Floridians are in for a rude awakening in a few weeks when those payments end. Florida is one of more than 20 states that decided to discontinue the federal unemployment payments. But there is a key difference in Florida, where maximum weekly benefits are just a fraction of other states. For example, North Dakota allows a maximum payment of $618 per week. Now add on those federal benefit payments of $300. Those claimants could have been collecting about $918 per week. But Florida's maximum payment is $275 per week, and many claimants don't even qualify for that much. So residents of states that have discontinued federal benefits could still claim twice as much as folks in Florida. Florida's additional $300 payments are set to expire on June 26th. I'm Jocelyn Howard, First Coast News, on your side.